Section 6.1 and 6.2. First, let's review the order of operations. That's what order a problem is worked. I am planning a trip to a football game out of town. I reserve a hotel for 2 nights for $250. I buy 2 tickets that cost $50 each. How much am I spending? $250 plus 2 times the $50 tickets each. First, you would figure out how much is being spent on tickets in all. So that would be 2 tickets times $50 each would be $100 in tickets, and then plus the $250 equals $350. So you multiply to find out how much that is total first. Okay, what don't you do? You don't say 250 plus 2 is 252 and then multiply by 50 because that is not correct. Imagine you have $10, you spend 5, deposit 3. So that's 10 take away 5 plus 3. 10 take away 5 is 5 plus 3 is 8. You don't add 5 and 3 first, you go left to right. So we have a memory tool called Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally. The P stands for parentheses. That means you do what's inside first. The E stands for exponents. Multiply and divide is next from left to right. Add and subtract is left to right. And that's the order that you work problems. To evaluate an expression means to plug in. For example, evaluate for x equals 7 means to replace x with 7. 4x means 4 times. So 4 times 7 is 28 plus 3 equals 31. Evaluate x squared plus 6x for x equals 3. So that would be 3 squared plus 6 times 3. 3 squared means 3 times 3. 6 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 6 times 3 is 18. 9 plus 18 is 27. To solve an equation means find x that makes an equation true. If 2 things are equal and you do the same thing. So let's change that, do same thing. You do something to one side. They only stay equal by doing the same thing on both sides. Okay, sides are separated by equal. For example, 300 equals 300. If you add 30, you get 330, but they're only equal if you add 30 to the left and the right. Okay, let's say you have $30. You want to buy something that is $100. How much more do you need? Well, we could say x plus 30 equals 100. You would subtract 100 minus 30 to figure out how much is left that is needed. So x represents how much more you need plus the $30 you have equals the $100 that you want. Okay, so you minus 30 to find out 70 is how much more you need. Solving an equation means if you take that number and put it in for x, it's true. 70 plus 30 equals 100, that is true. Okay, x divided by 5 equals 3. The opposite of divide is to multiply. So you multiply by 5 on both sides. The 5's cancel on the left, just gives you x equals 3 times 5 is 15. And if you plug that back in, it's true. 15 divided by 5 equals 3. 9x equals 18. That means 9 times some number is 18. So the opposite of 9 times is to divide. So divide by 9 on both sides, and the 9's cancel out on the left, and we get 18 divided by 9 is 2. We can check that. 9 times 2 equals 18. That is true. 9x equals negative 63. That means 9 times, so we divide. The 9's cancel on the left. On the right, a negative divided by a positive equals a negative. We can check by plugging negative 7 in. 9 times negative 7 equals negative 63. Negative 6x equals 4. We have to divide both sides by negative 6 so that the negative 6's cancel. We've got to cancel the 6 and the negative. On that right side, we have negative 4 divided by 6, which is not a whole number, but 2 goes into 4 2 times, and 2 goes into 6 3 times, and a negative divided by a positive equals a negative. Okay? So sometimes we have equations with 2 steps. For example, plug in x equals 4 into 2x plus 3. That would mean 2 times 4 is 8, plus 3 is 11. So the steps that we did was to multiply by 2 and add 3. When you solve an equation, means you know that 2x plus 3 equals 11, and you're trying to find what x equals. So we retrace our steps. We retrace our steps backwards. So when we plugged in, we multiplied and added. So to undo add, we subtract 3 on both sides. Then to undo multiply, we divide by 2 on both sides. So when you're solving 2x plus 3 equals 11, you have to undo that plus 3 first. You always undo the plus or minus. Okay, and you're done when you get x equals. 5x minus 3 equals 12. You undo the regular number. So we undo subtract with add. 12 plus 3 is 15. The minus 3 and plus 3 cancels. 5x equals 15, so we divide by 5 on both sides, and we get x equals 3. (16 minus 2x equals negative 6). We have to undo the plain number, the number that does not have an x. So we subtract 16 on both sides. Negative 2x equals negative 22, so we divide both sides by negative 2. On that right side, a negative divided by a negative equals a positive. Solve negative 5x equals 2. We divide both sides by negative 5. That doesn't reduce, but we say a positive divided by a negative equals negative. Nothing goes into 2 and 5. Okay, we have to divide both sides by a negative there because those negatives have to cancel and the 5. If you have two fractions that are equal and you're trying to solve, you can just use a little shortcut trick where you multiply across. So we would multiply 24 times 2 and x times 6. Okay, 24 times 2 is 48, and x times 6, we say 6x. Then we solve. 6x means times, so we divide. Okay, that cancels those 6's. 48 divided by 6 equals 8. Okay, x over 14 equals negative 12 over 7. Put the negative on top. Now we're going to multiply across. X times 7 is 7x. 14 times negative 12 is negative 168. Okay, if we have 7x, that means times, so you divide, which makes that cancel. Negative 168 divided by 7 is negative 24. Okay, x minus 2 over 18 equals 2 over 9. We're going to multiply crossways. So we need to do 9 times x minus 2 and 18 times 2. On that left side, we distribute the 9. 9 times x, 9x. 9 times negative 2 is negative 18. On the right, 2 times 18 is 36. Okay, now we solve. Well, you have to get rid of the plain number, minus 18. The opposite of subtract is to add. So we have 9x equals 54. Divide both sides by 9. We get x equals 6. Okay, and that's the end of that lesson.